When I first checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, it was supposed to be temporary. The year was 2017, and I had just moved to the city, broke, jobless, and desperate for a place to stay while I searched for work. The hotel was cheap, too cheap, but at the time, I didn't care. The lobby was dim, the air smelled faintly of mildew, and the front desk clerk barely looked up when I gave my name. "Don't wander the halls too much at night," he muttered flatly, sliding me the key to room 514. I laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke, but the look on his face told me he wasn't joking. The room itself was worn but livable, stained carpet, a buzzing fluorescent light, and a cracked window that looked out onto a maze of alleys below. That night, as I tried to sleep, I heard noises in the hallway. Slow footsteps, followed by a faint dragging sound. When I peeked through the peephole, the hallway was empty. Yet, when I opened my door the next morning, I noticed long scratch marks etched into the paint along the corridor walls, like someone had been clawing their way down. On my third night, I met Janine, another resident. She was in her early 30s, pale, jittery, and smoked constantly outside the entrance. When I asked her how long she'd been there, she smirked bitterly. "Too long. If you're smart, you'll leave before the hotel notices you." I pressed her for more, but she just shook her head, muttering, "People disappear here. They always have." I brushed it off, until I learned about room 608. The housekeeping staff refused to enter it. Every time I passed that floor, the air felt colder, heavier. The door to 608 was always locked, yet sometimes, late at night, I could hear faint knocks coming from inside. Once, I even heard a muffled cry. When I mentioned it to the clerk at the front desk, his expression darkened. "There is no room 608, he said firmly. "Don't ask about it again." The days dragged on. Strange things began happening in my room. My toothbrush moved from the sink to the floor. The window would creak open no matter how many times I locked it, and at night, I'd hear whispers. Sometimes it was a woman's voice, sometimes a man's, always faint but coming from the bathroom vent. I recorded the sounds on my phone once, only to find the audio was nothing but static layered with what sounded like heavy breathing. Janine eventually confided in me. She told me the Cecil had a history soaked in blood. Murders, suicides, overdoses, people who checked in and never checked out. She claimed some rooms were feeding grounds, places where the walls themselves absorbed suffering. 608 is the worst, she whispered. That's where they keep them. When I asked who they were, she wouldn't say. One night, curiosity got the better of me. I went to the 6th floor alone. The hallway lights flickered as I approached 608. To my surprise, the door was slightly ajar. Against my better judgment, I pushed it open. The room was pitch black, but the smell hit me first, rotting flesh, mold, and something metallic, like rust. I flicked on my phone's flashlight. The walls were covered in old photographs, dozens of them, taped haphazardly. Each photo showed different guests of the hotel, some smiling, some terrified, some looking just as I did now, confused and afraid. At the center of the wall was a photo of me, taken that very morning. My chest tightened. Someone had been in my room. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind me. The light flickered, and for a brief second, I saw shapes in the corners of the room. Thin, human-like figures with faces blurred like smudged paint. The whispers began again, louder, all around me. They weren't coming from mouths, but from the walls themselves. I stumbled backward, knocking over a chair, and sprinted out into the hallway. When I looked back, the door to 608 was closed and locked as if it had never opened. Shaking, I ran to Janine's room, pounding on the door. She let me in, wide-eyed, before I even spoke. "You went in, didn't you?" she hissed. I admitted I had. She told me once you enter 608, the hotel marks you. They'll come for you now. The walls want you. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I dreamed of standing in 608, the photographs staring at me. But the worst part came when I woke to find a new photo on my nightstand. Me, asleep in my bed, taken only hours earlier. I decided to leave the next morning, but when I went to check out, the clerk only shook his head. "You can't leave," he said flatly. "Not after you've seen it." His eyes were hollow, his voice monotone, as though he were speaking someone else's words. Panicked, I grabbed my bag and ran for the front door. only to find the street outside completely empty. Not just of people, but of cars, sound, everything. The city was gone. Only the hotel stood, stretching endlessly in every direction. The twisted truth hit me then. The Cecil wasn't just a building. It was a trap, a labyrinth feeding on the lost and the broken, keeping them within its walls forever. I hadn't checked into a hotel. I had checked into a prison that disguised itself as one. And as I write this now, in the dim light of room 514, I hear them outside my door. Footsteps. Scratching. Dragging. The walls are whispering my name. I don't know how much longer I have before the Cecil claims me, too.